All right, hello everyone. Hope you had a great week. Hope your weekend's going well for you. I'm going to try to make this video as quick as possible because I really don't have very much time. So I'm going to try to do my best to cover as much as possible, but still keep it kind of short as possible. What we're looking at here is MiyoLinux with the Wonderland window manager. And if you're unfamiliar with Wonderland, what it is, it's a tiling window manager that's a lot like i3 or i3 gaps. However, the developer has made it a lot easier to use. And when I discovered it and started using it, I just fell in love with it, and it became my preferred tiling window manager. And I have had a few conversations with the developer, and he gave me his blessing, I guess you could say, about making a release of MiyoLinux that uses Wonderland. So that's where we are. Now, another thing about this release, this is based on Devuan Ceres, which is the unstable branch of Devuan. So you get a true rolling release, but you need to be careful. We're going to go over the release notes here in just a moment. You need to be careful about upgrading, and I give some guidelines on how to keep your system updated and what to look out for and stuff like that. Now, this is the welcome screen you'll be greeted with. Please do take some time to read over this. It does give you some good information that I hope will be helpful. And especially right here, if you open the live user notes or the release notes, they're going to appear behind this actual window right here. So I'll tell you what you can do if you want to bring this window back up again. Now, just like all releases of MiyoLinux, you get the ability to change your keyboard layout by clicking this button down here at the bottom, and that will open up this window. Just scroll through and find the keyboard layout you need, and then click OK, and it will temporarily adopt your keyboard layout. You can connect to your network. Now, wired connections should be connected automatically, which I'm actually on a wired connection right now. But if you click this, you can hopefully connect to your wireless, unless you just have a really new computer. Just open up the network manager here. Right here where it says Wi-Fi, click that button where it says off, and that will be Wi-Fi on. And now you note here my wireless showed up. So to connect to this, we go up to the wireless tab up here at the top. Click on the one you want to connect to, because I know a lot of people, they may have a lot more than just the one that they personally use. So click the one you want to connect to and then click connect. Enter your passphrase, which I'm going to hide the passphrase here. Enter your passphrase. And then come down here and click OK. And we are now connected. You can come back over here to status and double check it. Next to Wi-Fi, it says connected, yes. And you can also install the system from here. I'm not going to install it from here because I'm going to go over the release notes really quick. So let me click those, and I will close this as soon as that opens. All right. Give some special instructions for non-English installations. Be aware this build is based on Devuan Ceres, which is the unstable branch of Devuan. Please use at your own risk. If you've ever used Debian SID, this is basically Debian SID just without systemd. Now, immediately after installation, open your terminal and at least run this command here, apt update, otherwise your repositories won't be active. And please be aware that MiyoLinux includes the contrib and non-free repositories. You can remove those if you don't want them on your system. Okay, and here's a general rundown of the notes on this release. And the first one is upgrade with care. Now, I'm not going to read over all these because they're right here. You can also download these release notes if you want to do that and take the time to read over them before you actually try the system. But the first thing you want to do after you run that first apt update, if you have installed the system and you run that apt update, the first thing you might want to do is install apt list bugs. And apt list bugs will let you know if there are any bugs. It will briefly describe the bug, what the problem is, and you can decide from there if you want to go ahead with the installation or not. If any bugs are found, it'll halt the upgrade, so you won't accidentally get a really bad detrimental upgrade to your system that might break your system. However, if you're not careful, you can break your system. It's unstable. Let's see. Anything else? Now this sudo, you might have to go back and forth between these two. Now, I've personally never had to do that on Devuan. When I first tried Debian SID, it was years ago, before I even began MiyoLinux. And I had discovered an open box system called Simplice. I believe that's how it's pronounced. When you look at it as a person from the United States, it looks like it says Simplice, but I believe it's Italian and it's actually pronounced Simplice, which was a Debian SID distro using OpenBox, and that's what really turned me on to OpenBox also. Before that, I'd always used LXDE or sometimes XFCE. But Simplice not only turned me on to OpenBox, but it turned me on to being able to use the unstable branch of Debian at the time. Now, of course, this was right around the same time that Debian switched over to Systemd, and from what I was told on the Simplice forum, these commands, when run together, you know, if you have a package that won't upgrade, you might have to go back and forth between these two commands. But they told me that was mainly with Systemd, like an upgrade for Systemd. And it was true. Every now and then an upgrade would come through and you would have to go back and forth between these two commands before you could finally finish the dist upgrade. Most important thing, just watch what apt tells you and act accordingly. If an upgrade will remove some packages, you will probably want to hold off on dist upgrading for the time being. You can always just cancel the upgrade and come back. Alright, using Wonderland. I don't go very in depth here. You can open the config file. Everything is handled in one config file, which is found in your home folder under config or .config Wonderland. You can also open that from Miyo Accessories. But anytime you make any changes, if you make any changes to the config file, you can reset everything in place. You don't have to log out, reboot, anything like that. Just use Mod Shift R and it will reset everything and adopt the changes that you've made immediately. There are two application menus plus D menu. Okay, D menu opens up there at the top. I don't know if you can see it or not. I'll move that around a little bit so you can see it. But there's also, let me go to a different desktop so you can see it easier. If you click up here on the application launcher, a left click will open this application launcher here. And to close it, if you don't choose an application to launch, just click outside of that menu. If you right click on it, it opens up this full screen menu. And both of those were provided by Darsh. To close this, there's nowhere to click outside the menu. So to close this, you have to hit your escape key on your keyboard if you don't choose an application to open. Darsh provided those for us for MiyoLinux, so thank you so much, Darsh. He also helped so much with this polybar. I'm not a big fan of polybar, but I know it's really popular right now, so I thought I would include polybar on this release. And Adarsh was instrumental in that. Let's see. Let's go on. How to enable sound with ALSA if you have more than one sound card. Now, I did not include pulse audio or PAVU control on this. It's just using ALSA. I will say this, at the time of this recording, I can't speak. Everything changes so quickly and unstable. I can't speak for the future, but yesterday on another installation of this, I installed pulse audio and PAVU control just to see what would happen. And it installed fine, worked right away. I didn't have to make any changes to anything. It just worked. So you have that option too if you want to use pulse audio. But if you don't, if you want to just stick to ALSA, I'd give some instructions here on how to get that working so that you'll have sound if you have more than one sound card. I included a pulse since pulse audio isn't installed. A pulse will help you with sound in Firefox. How to activate the firewall, I won't read that. All screenshots will appear in your pictures folder. And let me show those screenshot commands real quick. Right here in the conky. Now this conky is just giving you some basic keybinds to help get you started. Okay. Here at the bottom we have screenshots. Your print button will take a full screen screenshot. Then Alt, don't mess with your print button again, just Alt plus the number 1 will take a screenshot in 10 seconds. And Alt plus 2 will take a screenshot in 20 seconds. All of these are full screen and go in your pictures folder. Okay. I included the Papyrus folder script. Now this is using the Papyrus icon theme. And I included the script, and I give you instructions here on how you can change the folder colors if you want to. Web browser keybind. If you're familiar with MiyoLinux, I don't include a web browser. I leave that up to the user to decide which web browser they want. So I left that up to you. But what this keybind will do, it will open up whatever your system assigns as the XWWW browser. Okay? So whichever browser you install from the repos, and it's assigned as the XWWW browser, this keybind, Alt plus B, will open it automatically. Miscellaneous notes. If the launchers for Install MiyoLinux and Welcome to MiyoLinux remain in the Applications menu after installation, I still haven't been able to reproduce that, but I have had reports of some people saying that it did happen to them, so I just tell what to do if that does happen to occur after you install this. MiyoFetch, I have MiyoFetch to show when you open up a terminal. So let me open a terminal here. And all MiyoFetch is just some basic information here. If you don't want that showing when you open a terminal, I'll show how to get rid of it. If the root account doesn't adopt the theme or icons that you've chosen from customized look and feel. Alright, let's see. Let me open up Miyo Accessories. And this is how you will, if you want your root account to look differently, like when you open the File Manager as root or Synaptic Package Manager, if you want it to look a certain way, open up MiyoLinux Accessories. That is this keybind right here, Alt plus A. And right here, this first button, Customize Root Account. Click that. It will ask for your password. And after entering your password, it will open up LX Appearance for the root account, and you can make the changes you want. Okay? Let's see, what else? I tell how to use the refractor tools in MiyoLinux if you want to make your own ISO after you have everything set up. and special acknowledgements. Now I hope I say his name correctly. Asafor. If I'm not saying that correctly, please forgive me. I kind of read it like how you would read Aesop, you know, from Aesop's Fables. So I'm just saying Asafor, and if that's wrong, I'm sorry. But I do want to thank him not only for the Wonderland window manager, which again has become my preferred tile-in window manager, but I also want to thank him for his support of this release of MiyoLinux, which is using Wonderland. And if you want more information about Wonderland, I'll give a link right here where you can go to his GitHub page. Many thanks to Adarsh Bot. Once again, Adarsh has filled many roles in past releases of MiyoLinux, from providing scripts, offering advice, testing releases, and much more. For this release, Adarsh not only helped with Polybar, he not only provided these two Rofi menus, but he also, let's see, let me go to a different, let me open up PCMANFM. He also provided this right here in the right-click menu. Open Sakura. Now, I've always done it the hard way. I would go to a folder, come up here to Tools, click Open Current Folder in Terminal. But Adarsh has simplified that, just a right-click, and boom, there it is. So thank you so much, Adarsh, for all your help. Everything you do is just appreciated more than I can say. The font used for MiyoLinux, CA Gatintas, I think is a great representation of the MiyoLinux philosophy. And thanks to Devuan and Refracta, MiyoLinux wouldn't be possible without either of them. And finally, my sincere thanks to anyone who may try this. I hope you enjoy it, and I really do. Now, let's look at one. Where is it? Right here. I also, in addition to PCMANFM, now you can open PCMANFM as root, but I've also included the NNN File Manager, which is a CLI-based file manager, and that's opened with the keybind Alt+N. So there you go, for any of you who may be interested in that. Let me click on that, and there's that. Anything else I want to point out? No, I think that's pretty much it. All right. Now I'm going to install this real quickly because this is using the CLI installer. I actually decided to go with the CLI installer. I thought it fit the system better, made things a little simpler, but the CLI installer is just a little bit different. So let's go ahead and install this bad boy real quick. And we'll open this. I will go down to install MiyoLinux. There's that. And let me increase the font size on this a little bit, maybe make it easier to see. Okay, hopefully the rest of it will kind of center better. Alright, choose your geographic area. I'm in the US, so use your arrow key to move up and down. I'm in the US, so just hit enter after you've chosen the one you want. This is the time zone. I am in the Eastern time zone, so hit enter. And choose your locale. Now normally you want the one that is UTF-8. If you don't know your locale, just open the terminal on your current system, and it should work on any Linux system. Just open your terminal on your current system and type in locale and hit enter, and that will show you your locale. So I need English UTF-8. It should be already marked, but we're going to double check, and it is. If you see that there's a little asterisk right there next to English US UTF-8. That's the one I want. To mark a different one, if you're not wanting to use English US, use your space bar to unmark it, and then go to the one you do want and use your space bar to mark it, like so. I don't know if you can see that asterisk appearing or not, but I want English UTF-8. That's the one I want, so hit enter. This is the defaults for the system, English US UTF-8. That's what I want, so hit enter. Alright, I'm just going to take the defaults. This is the keyboard configuration. Again, if you need to change it, use your up and down arrow keys until you find the one you need and hit enter. I'm just going to take the defaults all the way through these keyboard screens. Enter, 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 enter. Alright, here's the boot method, which is BIOS. That's correct. And I want to continue. So if you see right here, if this is all new to you, just read the instructions. It's very simple. There are a couple of places where I think it could have been laid out better, but all in all, it's very simple, very quick. Alright, I want to continue the installation, so I'm going to choose number 2. Type in the number 2 and hit enter. Here's all my partitions. Alright, now gives you the opportunity, if you need to make your partitions or do any changes to the partitions, whatever, you can open gparted with typing in the number 1. cfdisk is number 2. No thanks, I already have a partition prepared. And 4, you can exit the script. I have all my partitions already set up, so I'm going to choose number 3. If you choose number 1, it'll open gparted. 2 will open cfdisk. I'm going with number 3 and hit enter. Where would you like Grub Bootloader to be installed? Well, normally, if I was just putting this as my only operating system, that would probably be Dev SDA. Or if I had a dual boot system or multi-boot and I wanted this system to control Grub, I would put Dev SDA. However, I already have one that I'm happy with that's controlling Grub, so I'm going to put the bootloader on the actual partition that I'm going to install the system on, which is Dev SDA 13, and hit enter. If you created a separate boot partition, enter it here, or just hit enter to skip this. I did not create one. What partition do you want to use for the operating system? Dev SDA 13. Enter. I want it to be ext4, which is number 4 for the file system. So 4 and enter. Do I want it to be on an encrypted partition? No, I don't. So number 2, enter. If I created a home partition, enter it here. I didn't create one, so just leave it blank. This is one of the steps I think could have been explained a little better. It just says just leave this blank. So all you have to do is hit enter. Okay? I've actually gotten to where I prefer this CLI installer over the GUI. Alright, which partition do I want to use for swap? That would be Dev SDA 14. Would you like fstab to use UUIDs? Press enter for yes. Yes, I do want UUIDs. So I'm going to hit enter. The current host name is MiyoLinux. To change that, enter the new host name here. To leave it unchanged, just press enter. MiyoLinux is fine with me, so I'm going to hit enter. If you want something different, type in what you want and then hit enter. This is your last chance to exit before changes are made. Do you want to proceed? 1 for yes. Alright, it's telling me SDA13 already contains an ext4 file system, and do I want to proceed anyway? Because it's going to overwrite it. That's basically what it's telling you here. And yes, I do want to, so hit the Y key on your keyboard and then hit enter. And I will let this get going and pause the video and come back after it's over. Let it get going. And there it goes. I'll be right back, guys. Alright, the installation has basically finished. Now it's going to ask us a few more questions. Do you want to disable auto login? In other words, do you want to turn your computer on? You don't have to log in, it goes straight to the desktop and logs you in automatically. If you want that, then click 2, because it's asking, do you want to disable auto login? I do want to disable it, so I want to hit enter for yes. Okay. Alright, time to install the bootloader and finish the installation. So I'm going to type in the number 2, hit enter, and this takes just a little bit, so while that's going on, I'm going to go to a different desktop and we will look at, let's see, what can we do? Where's nitrogen? I did include just a few wallpapers on this. Of course, that's the one you're looking at, is the default wallpaper, but I will show the others. And this is probably going to drag because I'm recording and installing. Now, if you know me, you know that I like colors. So there's this colorful one here. Let me go to workspace 3. There's the colorful one. I probably could have gotten that green MiyoLinux a little different color than what it is, but all in all, it's fine. And here's a dark one. And we'll go back to 3 so you can see it. Just a, not black, but a dark wallpaper that has been clothified with MiyoLinux Wonderland on it. Alright. I can close this. Or maybe you want to see how some things work. Let's see. Let's open up a terminal. Well, first let me check and see how that's going. It's still working on it, so I'll go back here. Alright, let's open up a terminal. Let's see. Let's set the next window to open vertically, and I'll open PCMANFM. Now again, it's not very snappy right now because everything going on, but what you can do on Wonderland, now you can do this with keybinds also, but just an easy, simple way to demonstrate it. Hold down your mod key, which is the Windows key. Use your left mouse button. You can drag this over here. Oh dear, what happened? Or maybe you want to drag this window over here. Oh my goodness, look at that. Or maybe you want this window to be full screen momentarily. Oh yeah, that's what I'm talking. Oh, whoa, ho, ho. Or maybe you want it, let's see, let's make this one float. Now let's let PCMANFM float. Oh, look at that. Let's put it back. Oh, ooh, oh, ooh. Okay, but that's how things will work. You preview, yes. And let's close this. Let's go back to number 1. It's still setting up the grub bootloader. Let's see. Let me open D menu and I'll run LX appearance so you can see what's installed as far as themes and icons. Now, because this is Ceres, there's a little more actually installed on the 64-bit system than there is on the 32-bit. So like here in the icon theme, this Nouveau, that will not be on the 32-bit for an icon theme. But basically this is all you're going to get, Adwaita and Adwaita Dark, icon theme, Papyrus icons is what I'm using. Okay, that's finished. And the mouse cursor, I added the DMZ black and white and these 3 oxygen cursors. And that's basically it. Very stripped down system that's going to allow you to do with it what you want. Alright, Grub bootloader's finished. We're going to enter our password. Now the current primary user's password, our name, is Miyo. If you want to change it, enter the new username. I was saying password, we're on username. The new username, this will be all in lowercase letters, D-A-N for Dan. And now you can put a capital letter in there and make the new username whatever you want it to be for the real name. And hit enter. Change the password. The current password is Miyo. I want to change it, so hit enter for yes to change it. And enter the password, enter it again, and here's the options for sudo. You can disable sudo, and they have that marked as recommended. That's up to you. Just because they say it's recommended doesn't mean you have to do it. I actually always choose this second option. I permit sudo and also keep the root account. If you disable sudo, like number 1, you'll just have a root account. Number 2 will give you both sudo and a root account. Number 3 will be kind of like Ubuntu, where you only have sudo. And number 4 will only use sudo for shutdown and also have a root account. I'm going to do number 2. So type in the number 2 and hit enter. Change the root password. Yes, I want to change it, so hit enter and type it in. And we are finished. So that's how you would install this. I hope that made some sense to you. If you want to try this, just keep in mind that it's using Devuan Ceres. It's going to provide you with a true rolling release, much newer packages. Just be very careful about updating your system. Pay attention to what app tells you. I would recommend you install app list bugs because it is very helpful. Now sometimes it might show you a bug report and it might say critical bug, but it may not really be that big of a deal. It might be, once you read the description of the bug, it might be something that is not going to affect you whatsoever. So just pay attention when you upgrade. Pay attention to what app tells you. And again, if it's going to remove packages, you don't want to do anything at the present time. Just cancel the upgrade and check back, in a few days, a day or two, few days, a week, 2 weeks, whatever floats your boat. But that's it. Thanks again to Asafor for providing such a great tile and window manager, and hope you guys, if you want to try this, I hope you enjoy it. I will put a link in the description where it can be downloaded, and you guys have a great remainder of the weekend. All right, take care. Thanks.